Task Force Alpha is disbanded.
And you two aren't American anymore.
I can say that. You're expatriated. If you step foot on homeland soil again, I'll treat it as an invasion.
Rick and Morty's 8th season is only halfway through its release, but the people behind the show are already looking ahead and wrapping up work on Season 9. Season 8 premiered back in late May and is set to run until the end of July, which gives fans a steady stream of new episodes across the summer. It's been a pretty exciting stretch so far, especially because Season 7 left many people feeling underwhelmed. Season 8, on the other hand, has been seen as a return to form, even pulling in a perfect 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes Tomato Meter and a strong 87% audience score. Those numbers could shift a bit once the season wraps up, but it's already a promising sign that the series has bounced back in a big way. Considering Rick and Morty has long been a breakout hit for Adult Swim, the turnaround feels important. When the season hit its halfway point, Screen Rant spoke with the new lead voices of Rick and Morty, Ian Cardoni, who voices Rick, and Harry Belden, who voices Morty. Both actors teased what's coming next, not just for the rest of Season 8, but also for Season 9. Belden especially leaned into the hype, calling Season 9 incredible and saying it only keeps getting better the further it goes. Cardoni didn't hold back either, pointing out that the best way to prepare for Season 9 is to pay very close attention to what's happening now in Season 8, because the storylines and character beats being set up are going to matter down the line. In short, the show is already laying a bunch of groundwork that's expected to pay off when the next season drops. That's an exciting tease, although it's not easy to know exactly what Cardoni meant, since Season 8 has already explored a wide variety of ideas. We've had simulations, assassinations, amusement parks, and even a look back at the devastated citadel of Ricks, and that's just what's been released so far. There's still more to come before the season ends, so his comment about things building could mean nearly anything. But the bigger point is that the show has clearly found its groove again after the shaky transition in Season 7. That was the first season without Justin Roiland after his departure, which naturally raised doubts about whether Rick and Morty could hold on to its signature tone. Season 8's reception shows it can, which is a big relief for fans and for Adult Swim, since the series has already been renewed all the way through Season 12. When you look at the show's ratings history, Season 8 really stands out. The earliest seasons were universally praised, with Seasons 1, 2, and 3 all sitting in the mid to high 90s range. Season 4 was still strong, Season 5 saw a dip, and then Season 7 took the biggest hit, dropping down to a disappointing 77% from critics and only 51% from audiences. Season 8 bouncing back to 100% is huge, because it proves that Rick and Morty is not only surviving after a major creative shakeup, but is thriving again. This comeback has reminded people why the show exploded in popularity in the first place. Cardoni's suggestion that fans rewatch Season 8 to catch every detail is actually a pretty good one, since Rick and Morty has always loved planting little setups and callbacks. The vague hints about Season 9 might mean that moments we're brushing past now could become essential later. For fans who already enjoy picking apart episodes, it's basically an open invitation to keep analyzing everything. Even beyond speculation, it's just good news that Rick and Morty seems to have regained momentum. The show is more than a decade old at this point, but it still manages to balance off-the-wall humor with some surprisingly emotional storytelling. Season 8 has reminded audiences of that mix, especially since the ending leaned into a more heartfelt note. The franchise isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it's undeniably still one of the biggest animated series on TV. Of course, while fans are waiting for Season 9, they won't be totally without options. Netflix is preparing a new animated comedy called Haunted Hotel, and what makes it especially interesting is the amount of Rick and Morty DNA baked into it. The series, set to premiere in mid-September, brings in several familiar creative voices. Dan Harmon himself is executive producing, and Matt Roller, one of the key Rick and Morty writers, is the creator. Other members of the Rick and Morty team, like Erica Hayes and Steve Levy, are also helping out. So, even if the setting and premise are fresh, the sensibilities behind it will probably feel familiar to fans of Adult Swim's flagship show. The setup for Haunted Hotel sounds quirky in its own right. It follows a single mother and her 2 kids who end up staying in an unusual hotel where they're joined by the mother's estranged brother who just happens to be a ghost. That premise alone sets the stage for plenty of weird humor, and with the experience of the creative team, it has a strong shot at being more than just another animated experiment on Netflix. Considering the show will debut while Rick and Morty is between seasons, it might even serve as the perfect stopgap for viewers craving something with a similar vibe. What's also interesting is that Haunted Hotel might not just fill a gap, but could actually become competition. Rick and Morty isn't going anywhere anytime soon, especially with new seasons and even spin-offs like the upcoming President Curtis series already on the horizon. But having another animated comedy with overlapping creative DNA could push both shows to stay sharp. Rick and Morty has been at the top of the adult animation food chain for years, so having a legitimate rival from a platform as big as Netflix could actually be healthy. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time Rick and Morty fans have had side projects to check out. Harmon already launched Crapopolis, which gave audiences a different animated world to explore, though it hasn't had the same buzz as Rick and Morty. Haunted Hotel, with its more grounded but still bizarre premise, could end up striking a bigger chord. If some of Rick and Morty's audience naturally drifts over, Netflix may have found itself a hit that can stand alongside or at least just behind Adult Swim's juggernaut. And even if it doesn't dethrone Rick and Morty, the timing works out nicely. Fans have a reason to get excited about Season 9 while also having something new to dive into in the meantime. Given how strongly Season 8 has been received, Season 9 already carries a lot of hype, and the idea that it will build directly on what's happening now only makes it more intriguing. By the time Haunted Hotel premieres, we'll likely already be knee-deep in speculation about where Rick and Morty is headed next, so having both shows to discuss could be a win-win for fans of animated storytelling. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, this moment feels like a turning point for Rick and Morty. After a rocky Season 7, it wasn't guaranteed the show would find its footing again. But because Season 8 has been so widely praised, the franchise has new momentum at exactly the right time. The hints about Season 9 suggest the writers are confident and already planning long-term arcs, which is a good sign for the show's staying power. And on top of that, new projects from the same creative minds means the broader world of adult animation is about to get even more interesting. So, while there's still no way to know precisely what's coming in Season 9, one thing is clear: Rick and Morty has its groove back, and it's not slowing down. Whether fans are watching closely for hidden clues, rewatching episodes to connect the dots, or checking out related projects like Haunted Hotel, there's plenty to look forward to. Adult Swim's flagship series is stronger than ever, Netflix is gearing up with a possible rival, and the animated comedy landscape as a whole looks like it's about to get very exciting. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop. And if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.